Well, here we are. It is Christmas Eve, and I'm doing this a couple days early because Friday I don't know what I'm doing. I might be, my wife and I might be traveling or getting ready to go up to New Hampshire, so I'm going to do it today. Alrighty, and there's a number of sales that have popped up in the last couple of days as we head into the new year, which isn't a big surprise. Every year this happens. They're a little bit earlier than I thought, but in some sales have turned up that are starting in February, actually when the auctions are being held. And there's a whole bunch of sales happening around the middle of January. But before I get into all those, there is a sale coming up that I got the catalog sent to me by the auction house the other day, and I want to just touch base on it. And I'm going to come back in a couple of days and do a full preview of it. And this is for New England Auctions down in Connecticut, run by Mr. Jim Petro, who I've mentioned before. He does good auctions. He's been in the business a very long time, and he's got this isn't Chinese stuff. It's American stuff, but it's two very, very good collections. The collections of Nancy and Gary Stass and the collections of Salian and William Gemmell. And these folks have been well known in the antique world as collectors for a long time. They both passed away, and they had amazing collections of American folk art, early American decorative art, marine art, black folk art, all of it. And it's a great looking catalog. It's online on New England Auctions' website. It's also can be seen on Invaluable. And this is the kind of stuff that we used to see so much of back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s and the early 2000s. These wonderful pieces of American folk art, craft art, a lot of it from New England. There's a couple of there's a number of really good marine paintings in here. One of them is of a ship from Salem, Mass. It was a trading ship that went overseas. Sponge decorated furniture, paint furniture, fractors, silhouettes, pottery, the whole bit. There's a whole lot of it in here, and these are great examples, really great examples. There's a pair of portraits in here by Sheldon Peck, as a matter of fact, and they should bring $100,000 to $200,000. They're extremely fine, and they are a pair, a man and a woman, and so forth. This is it right here. These pictures. Anyway, we're gonna go through it in more detail. I want to digest the catalog a bit and get it sort of my thoughts in my head, and we'll do a video about it. So if you're an Americana collector or a folk art collector, you want to come back and watch that. You'll enjoy it. It's a really great, really fantastic material. All right, but other things that are going on, as I said, a number of sales have popped up just since last Friday. I guess some auction houses wanted to get the stuff online before the holidays in case people are browsing, which is a good idea. And there's some pretty good pieces have turned up, and I expect there'll be a lot more in the next few days. And just so you know. There will be also the big Americana week. I meant to mention this down in New York that they do every year in January. So if you're an American furniture buff and so forth, you might want to go to it. They also have some pretty good dealers show up with China trade items. So if you're a China trade collector, you may want to go to that. So just keep that in mind. Now, before we get into it too much, we'll start here, but there's a couple of reproductions I want to talk about in a minute. We'll start here, though. These are a couple of mugs that have turned up, and Algers and Ogletree have a sale coming up on January 14th, the middle of the month. Got some nice 18th century export mugs in here. The one on the left is one that you see fairly often. The one on the right is a pretty interesting one. It's got a lot of nice underglazed blue on it. Good looking pair of mugs. Reasonably estimated at $200 to $400. So if you're a mug buyer or an export buyer, you might want to check that out. They also have several of these nice 18th century bowls coming up with underglazed blue and overglazed enamels and so forth. These are quite nice. They both measure about 8 inches in diameter. They're not terribly big, 7 3/4 inches, but they're very nice quality. And quality is what counts. Again, estimated at just $200 to $400. It seems very reasonable. They also have some good carpets. Now, these are the vases I want to talk about a little bit. In the last few months, I thought these were at the beginning of the video, so it threw me off a little. In the last, well, not a few months, in the last couple of years, a few years ago, we noticed some reproductions of armorial wares were turning up. And as you know, for a long time, China trade stuff was sort of out of fashion. And there was a sale, sort of a well done sale over in Hong Kong a year or so ago with some very good Chinese export pieces, and the stuff got gobbled up by Chinese mainland buyers. And we've seen this happen a couple of times, but that was a particularly strong sale. And in the last few years, a number of lots have turned up around the world of copies of Chinese armorial wares. And now we're seeing copies of Chinese rose medallion and rose mandarin wares. This is really kind of shocking. These vases are being offered. Who has these? Curated auctions over in the UK. These are not antiques, as far as I can tell. These are 20th century reproductions of rose mandarin vases. They're rather sloppy in the decoration, and a lot of you would spot it right away. But these are copies, and these were done, I think, fairly recently. I don't think these have much age at all to them. Probably in the last few years, from what I can see. There's the bottoms of them. That's not, many of you that collect these things know it. That's not what the bottom of them should look like. They really messed up the glaze on here, but they were sort of knocking them out, I guess. But this one's a little more disturbing. This is an export punch bowl that's coming along at Case Antiques down in Knoxville, Tennessee. Now they generally are very good on this stuff, but this bowl is very well done, and it slipped by them. And this is a reproduction. This is not an antique bowl, in my opinion. And it looks, I know it looks very, very convincing, but when you look at the details of the faces, there's a good detail shot coming up. You can spot it. And I thought the coloring looked off to me, but when you pull this in here and look at these faces, and notice in the old pieces in the 19th century, they put gilding in the hair of the women. And often for a long time when they made copies, they didn't bother with the gilding. Well, I guess somebody got to them and said, you got to start putting some gold in the hairs. And they started putting in these funny little rows of dots that you'll see this woman here. They're very noticeable. This sort of patterned dotting technique that they've developed, and they're all over them. And that's not how they were done originally, of course. They were drawn in because they were supposed to be hair ornaments. And here they're just, I don't think the potters know what the gold was supposed to be for. So they're just putting dots in the hair. And this is a reproduction bowl. And when you flip the bowl over, the foot rim really tells the story here. Hold on, we'll get to it. Go back one. This is a big bowl. It's an 18-inch bowl. There's the foot rim on it. And that foot does not look right to me at all. It's too shallow. The shape of it is wrong. The bottom of the bowl is snow white. And this is not an antique Chinese bowl from the mid 1800s. This is a bowl from the 20th century. And I sent them a note. Don't let them know, just so they know. But this is not, and it's not a piece of Samson or anything like that. This is a reproduction that was done to be very, very convincing. But the decoration is wrong on it. And there's also this peculiar yellow that's in here in the middle, the color. And that's not a color you typically see on these. The pinks are off. There's a lot wrong with it when you really start to focus on it. But at a glance, it's very impressive. And it's an 18-inch bowl, all right, as I recall, 18 inches in diameter. And it's getting a lot of attention. It's got 32 people watching it already. And the sale just came up. The sale isn't until January 31st. It's already got 32 people watching it. If you're watching this bowl, take it off your watch list. You don't want it. All right, but it just shows you how quickly the Chinese can adapt and begin reproducing things once they start to get a little traction. And so, because an 18-inch bowl of this size typically sells in the $3,000 to $5,000 range if it's authentic. This is not an authentic bowl, so just take that off your dance card. But they do have, I think this is also case, they do have this very nice 18th century famille rose with overglazed blue enamel dish. It's a charger. It's 14 inches in diameter. They've given it a $500 to $700 estimate, which seems reasonable, and a $250 starting price. All right, and then but that wasn't a knock on Case Antiques. I think they're a very good auction house. I think they just missed on that one, which is easy enough to do on the bowl previously. And they're also in this very nice late 19th, early 20th century Chinese robe in gold metallic thread on a blue ground. Looks to be in wonderful condition. It's framed. It's inside of a shadow frame of some kind, so it's been well protected for quite a while. But a rather good looking one, and the estimate is reasonable. The estimate is just $800 to $1,000. sales. In the past, we've seen these turned up. Many of you have seen these before, and they typically bring somewhere between 1,400 and 2,000. So the estimate's, certainly reasonable. The opening price is very reasonable, $400. So you might want to check that sale out. The other thing I wanted to mention was this at Gurley Antiques Gallery. Now, where are they located? I'm not that familiar with them. Hold on a second. They're in Scarborough, Maine. Okay, and I don't think I know them, unless they're related to Nan Gurley, who was a dealer for many years. Maybe it is. But this is a reference library that's come up. All right, and I don't know where the this is the end of the sale, I guess. But there's a reference library here of several hundred very good looking books, 320 books. And it covers everything from American furniture. There's some great, if you're an American furniture and antique buyer of American stuff, you want to definitely check this auction out, Gurley Auctions. And this is on January 25th, so you have plenty of time. And remember, you get everything shipped book rate, save some money. But there's a lot of very good books in here, a lot of books you don't see very often. And there are also a number of very good Chinese reference books in this sale. But if you're interested in American stuff, you want to check this sale out because books have become a relative bargain in the market because I guess people don't like to read anymore, and you can buy some fantastic reference books these days for very reasonable amounts of money and really get an education for yourself on this stuff. But there's some great pieces in here, and we'll just go through a few of the Chinese lots. There's some good American furniture lots. The famous book on Philadelphia furniture's in here. There's all kinds of stuff. The Beckerdite series from the Chipstone Foundation is in here. And then there's this Chinese ceramics by He Li. It's an excellent book. I have it. I've had it for years. It's very well written, very scholarly, worthwhile. The estimate is for nothing. $50 to $500. But in the past, these have been turning up in the market, and they're selling for $75 to $125, which is very reasonable for this particular book. Starting price is $10. All right, it's a heck of a nice book. The other book that's coming up is the set of 4 books from the 1993 Journal of Classical Furniture. And this was that outfit out in California, had that amazing Chinese furniture collection, Ming furniture mainly. And they got into a tax issue with the IRS over something, the way the money was handled. They were forced to liquidate the museum, the collection. But they published some really scholarly stuff, some great material. So if you're a furniture buyer of Ming furniture in particular, you probably already know about the Classical Furniture Society. But this is a set of 4 of the books, and there's another lot in here with 4 more. So you can get some very good reading material on Chinese furniture. And then there's the inaugural, this is the inaugural exhibition book that came out of Bath over in the UK. I have these books. They're excellent. There's Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 1 is early Chinese ceramics. Volume 2 is works on metalworks and decorative arts. It's a very good pair of books. If you're interested in early ceramics, Sungwares and earlier, and you like early metalwork, you want to get these books. These are excellent. They are excellent. And again, the starting price is $10, 50 to 5. I guess 50 to 500 is going to be their standard estimate for everything in the sale. Now, it was published in 1993. These are very good books. All right. The other book that came up that you don't see very often is Keith Pinn's book on Pak Tong. The Chinese alloy in Europe, 1680 to 1820. This is a pretty nifty book. It was published in the late 90s, 99, I guess it came out. And it shows different ways Pak Tong was worked into objects in Europe. And the Europeans learned to make it from the Chinese. There's some Chinese examples in there. But if you're interested in this sort of thing, this is a really good scholarly book with lots of illustrations on Pak Tong ware, which is sort of one of these metals you don't hear talked about much anymore. All right. The other is The Glorious Traditions of Chinese Bronzes. This is a wonderful book by Liu Xin. And these are early bronzes, Shang bronzes, Zhou bronzes, and all that. Excellent book, well written. Again, $10 opening bid. And then over to this, Tribal Rugs of South Persia by James Opie. This is a wonderful book. I bought this book when it first came out, when it was first published. Jim Opie was a terrific scholar on Central Persian village rugs, tribal rugs, Kashgai rugs, Lori carpets, Kemsa, all those sorts of things. He was also a great speaker on the subject. This is a very good book. So if you're a rug buff, you want to check that out. There are other rug books in here, and there are other books on Chinese art, but these are just some of them. And this is the chipstone set. This isn't every one of them, I don't think, but it's 18. It's 18 years of collection from the Chipstone Foundation for American Furniture. And every year, the Chipstone Foundation, I think they're in Minnesota. Luke Beckerdite was the head of it. He was a wonderful guy. I actually knew him, met him a couple of times, enjoyed him very much. They would gather scholarly papers from people doing research in all different areas of American furniture, American decorative art, starting from the colonial period, the earliest colonial periods, right through the 19th century. So they covered it all, and they covered everything from furniture to textiles to woodworking to folk art to marine art, everything. And if you want to get a crash course in American furniture, this is the set to buy. This is a set to buy. If you read these, you'll know more than 99% of the furniture dealers out there that deal in antiques. It's a great series of books, and they were about. I think they were. We had a subscription to this at the shop when they had the antique shop, and I think it was $75 or $100 per book, or something. And we got it. It was a great thing. We subscribed to it, but it was a very, very good series. And Luke Deckerdye was a wonderful guy. So he's still around. He's just these are just from years in the past. All right, and other things that are turning up. This is coming up at Doyle's. They have a sale that posted the other day. It's coming up on the 21st. There's a nice set of Chinese paintings, China trade paintings in here. That might tickle your fancy. Very nice colors, very crisp, very brightly painted. These are 19th century pictures. All framed, nicely done. Actually, the frames are very attractive. But they work really, really well. The estimate on them is very reasonable, $2,000 to $3,000, $1,000 opening bid. And these are pretty good size. They're 12 by 8 inches for the image size, not including the frame. So they're a nice size. And it's coming up on the 21st. And the other thing that's coming up on the 21st is this. It's a Sino-Tibetan gilt bronze figure of Amateus. And it looks like a good old one. And it's got a very modest estimate. This looks like a pretty good bronze. The casting looks good. The wear looks good and legitimate. The proportions are all very, very well done. The facial structure, the way the eyes are done, the nose, all that looks very, very good. And it measures, what is this? They're dating it as 18th century. Could be a little older too. They're measuring it to about 7 inches in height. Nice example. Modest estimate, $2,000 to $3,000 with $1,000 opening price. And then there's this. This is coming up at Hill Auction Gallery in Sunrise, Florida. Is this very attractive China trade bowl. It's 13 1/4 inches, so it's a nice size, but it's one of these really, really fine bowls with these very nice chevrons all over it. I don't know. I might have mentioned this bowl on Friday. I'm not sure. It popped up last week. If I maybe, or I had it on the Patreon video, but it just struck me as being an awfully nice example, and it looks to be in great condition. So if you've seen it before, it's a reminder that you might want to watch it. It's got 65 people watching it, so I think it'll do pretty well. The estimate is very low. The estimate is $100 to $1,000. I think it's going to go probably for around $1,300 to $1,600, but we'll see. Time will tell. Time will tell. All right. Also in the same sale is this very nice square famille rose 18th century platter, or a floral tray as they're calling it. It has invected corners up here where they pinch in, and nice looking decoration on it. I don't see much wear, hardly any wear at all. There's a tiny bit of wear down here at the bottom. That's about it. But the red enamels all look good. The gilding is in pretty good shape, I think. And it measures, 11 by 9 inches, almost 12 inches by 9.5 inches. It's in good overall condition, estimated at $100 to $1,000. That seems sort of wide ranging. And it's got 25 people watching, but it's a good platter. If you've been looking, or platter or tray, if you've been looking for a good Chinese export tray or platter, this might be a good choice. The coloring is good, and the spacing of the art is very good on it. And then over to this is another Chinese. Most of the stuff that's come up in the last week has been Chinese export stuff. This is a very nice Chinese 18th century export bowl. It measures 11 inches in diameter, but it's got a sort of an unusual decoration. It's got these large figures on it. Typically, they're more like the one we had just looked at, with the smaller figures, more compressed scenes. This one has been opened up, and you do see these. They did do them this way, and they tend to be very popular with Chinese buyers, because it really is large scale depictions of Chinese figures moving through landscapes. This one, they're in a very pretty garden, and the figures are nicely done. And again, you can see the ornaments, the gold ornaments and the hair are painted on, not dotted in. All right, and here's the other side of the bowl. Quite attractive. This is a very attractive bowl, I think. And the gilding and everything look to be in pretty good shape. Here's the interior. I don't see a lot of wear or damage anywhere. Looks fine. A nice looking bowl. As I said, the estimate is very reasonable, $700 to $1,000. $350 opening bid. It should get there. It should get more than that, because the decoration is atypical. You have large figures on it, and often when you see these export bowls that had large figures, there was that very good one. I think it was at Doyle's a couple of years ago, or Freeman's had it, and it ended up going for I don't know, $4,000 or $5,000. But this is another nice one. I don't know if it'll get to $4,000 or $5,000, but it's a nice one, and don't be surprised if it does. All right. And the other thing that's popping up on the 14th is this nice big plate, 18th century blue and white. And this is also at Doyle's in a couple of weeks. It's 13.5 inches in diameter, but it's a big plate. And it's very nicely decorated. It's got a line in the middle, so it'll keep the price down, or a break in the middle. But the decoration is nice on this. It's worth doing. This is pretty well worth doing a nice restoration on, because I like the pattern and the palette, the way it's done, the layout. There's a duck in the middle and all that. And the estimate takes into account the damage. It's only estimated $150 to $200, $80 opening bid, but it's worth looking at, especially if you're shopping on a budget. This is a nice early piece, and it would display beautifully. All right, and then over to this. This is a mug that's coming up at Eldred's on Cape Cod, Kangxi period Chinese Amari mug. They have a sale. When's the sale? Sale is on the 15th of January, a couple of weeks from now, and they've got a number of pretty good Chinese export pieces. All these things will be on the global pages in the next couple of days, as soon as I get a chance to do it. But this is a good looking Amari mug. It's got this wide flared foot on the bottom, which I like a lot. I think it looks very good on it, and you want to check that out. And they have this very nice Amari bowl. This they've dated as 19th century. I don't believe it is. I believe it's a 9-inch bowl with a brown dressing on the trim. This certainly looks like an 18th century Qinlong or earlier bowl to me. It looks. I don't know. It looks like it might be a Kangxi bowl, actually, because it's in an Amari palette, and the color of the blue looks awfully good here. Certainly 18th century. I think it's maybe Kangxi. But very good looking bowl, a nice size. It'll present well. There's no damage to it. The estimate is for nothing, because they think it's 19th century. $200 to $250. But Eldred's is a little conservative at times. They've sold a lot of Chinese stuff, but every once in a while something slips by them. But it's a very legitimate looking piece of porcelain, 9 inches in diameter with a $100 opening bid. Perfectly fair. And they have this little bowl. This is quite nice. It also appears to be an 18th century bowl, or early 19th, late 18th to early 19th. Again, with the brown dressing, and with this nice famille rose decoration on it. This one I think is a little bit small. Yeah, 5 3/4 inches. There's the interior of it. It looks a little dirty. Could use a gentle cleaning. It's estimated at 300 to 500. 2 3/4 inches tall, 5 3/4 inches wide. Slight glaze irregularities to the interior. That's about it. But it looks to be in quite good condition. And all these pieces are coming up on the 15th of January. All right. So check that out. There'll be more in the next couple of days, but I just wanted to quickly run through these and get it out to you and let you know about the New England auction gallery sale coming up with that great American furniture in it. And I expect probably by the end of this coming weekend, there'll be a whole bunch more things popping up onto the radar as the auction houses start to get back to work. Maybe not many of them will be working on Friday. I know that Freeman's is closed until after the new year. I think they're all on break. A lot people take a lot of time off at Christmas, which is understandable. But there will be things turning up certainly next week, and we'll bring them to your attention as we do. And in the meantime, we'll try to do a video on that Americana sale. I'm going to enjoy that. The stuff looks awfully good, awful good stuff. And that's really all the Chinese stuff that's really turned up in the last few days. But it's the holidays, so I hope you're all enjoying it. It's snowing here today a little bit. We've got it's a little more than a dusting, but not much more. But I guess up in New Hampshire, we've gotten a few inches, so we'll be seeing that in a couple of days after Christmas. And I hope all of you have a great Christmas. Again, I hadn't planned on doing this video. I planned on doing this Friday, then I realized we're going to be tight for time, so I wanted to get this out and say Merry Christmas again to everyone. All right. Have a wonderful day, and drive carefully if you're traveling on the holiday, and we'll see you in the next video. All right. Subscribe if you haven't, and on we go. All right. Bye-bye.